It's, you know, I got to thank Sandy Scott and Steffy, our master of the web. Without these two wonderful ladies, and raise your hand, Sandy, right there. Sandy Scott, raise your hand. Raise it. She's sitting there being real shy at my table. She did most of the hard work. Yes, I know Majestik. He and I have been like this, and you can see that little clip where I'm interviewing Jim Murray and Jim Hammer, and they don't want to admit I called it right. And Majestik said it right. I was literally the only person doing a television show 2 months before the verdict, June 13th. I said, they can't convict him. They don't have one good witness that saw anything wrong. Every witness they had was rotten liars, except that cop that said that you prosecutors got it all wrong. He turned on his own side. He turned against the prosecutor and said, you know, I can see what was going on. I was in the courtroom, and this cop, and I can see the wheels turn. He says, I'm not going to perjure myself. I'm not going to perjure. So he said, no, you got all this conspiracy phone contact information. You got it wrong. Wow, it was like a big mud pie in the prosecutor Tom Snedden's face. There was so much to that trial. I got angry, deep down angry, because I went to Vietnam. I was wounded in Vietnam. I get a disability check because of my wounds in Vietnam. And I fought for a country that had justice. And what I saw happening in the Michael Jackson 2004 to 2005 trial was just pure, malicious, hateful, satanic prosecution.
Satanic!
Satanic, it was. Now, what's my goal? In forming this incorporated charity called the MJJ Innocent Forever Foundation, and we didn't use the word Michael Jackson because there might be legal issues if you use his name. This could be the Majestik Justice Innocent Forever Foundation. But we all know what we're here for. The reason we did this is twofold. One, and you can see it on our statement of mission and on our goals. One, we want to create a foundation with millions and millions of dollars, initially from the 40-some million fans, and we want to continue giving to all those charities Michael Jackson gave to.
Yes!
Is that a good goal? What do you think? In doing that little thing, giving to those charities, those children's hospitals that Michael Jackson, oh, I want to thank you all with the white hat, by the way. Thank you for the solidarity. I very much appreciate that. But giving to those charities, we defeat the haters. We defeat Tom Snedden again. We defeat them. To get that charity to where people like Kathy Hilton, who we gave an open invitation, and Steffi tried to reach her through the private contacts. She says she's a Michael Jackson friend. We invited her to come today. I don't see either Paris Hilton or Kathy Hilton. Doesn't mean they aren't friends of Michael Jackson. Maybe they didn't get the message. We're planning another event for Michael's birthday at the end of August. And I don't think this room will be big enough to hold it. But we'll see. The other thing we have to do is Thomas Mesereau won without any shadow of a doubt. He slammed Tom Snedden, boom, down on the floor, and he tromped on him. He tromped him. And when I say Snedden's a snake, I mean a snake. What do you do with a snake? You stomp on him.
Cold-hearted snake.
He is a cold-hearted snake. To call him a cold-hearted man is too generous. Snake. And he enlisted Gordy Auchincloss and this guy that Sharon Sidney and I used to refer to him as Squarehead. Ron Zona, yes, somebody's paying attention. Ron Zona, and then there was Magnicola, who blew the conspiracy phone contact thing, and the cop said, yeah, you got it all wrong. That cop was supposed to be testifying for the prosecutors. I'm telling you, the thing that stuck in my mind in that trial, and this is what the public does not yet know, because the national media refuses to tell them the truth. Right. Refuses to tell them the truth. Every day you'd hear, oh, Michael was accused of this, and Michael was accused of that, and Gavin said this, and Starr said that. Then Tom Mesereau would take over, and he would tear those witnesses up, catch them in their lies, tear them into little pieces, and drop them in front of the prosecutor's table. There's your witnesses, they're caught in their lies, and they'd be humiliated, and the jury's sitting there. Now, this isn't on the court record, but I was in the courtroom virtually every single day, except verdict day, because I knew he was going to be not guilty. I didn't bother to go in. That's where my faith was. My faith, why go in there? I know what the verdict is. It's going to be not guilty on everything. Was I right? You know what? There wasn't a single, not Jim Hammer, not Jim Murray, not any of those big network people had the balls to say what deep in their heart they knew. Michael was innocent. So why did they do this? There's an agenda going on. Michael was for peace. He didn't like wars. He and Princess Diana did a photo op, and it's hard to find that picture that I want of them doing that photo op. It's disappearing from the internet. But they stood up, Princess Diana of England and Michael Jackson of the world. Is he a world citizen? Yes. Michael was a world citizen. They stood up together and said, we're against these anti-personnel mines because they blow the legs and the shoes and the feet and the hands off children years after the war and the battle is over. That was a signal to the warmongers, we must get rid of Di and MJ. That was the beginning right there. When they stood up against these vicious things, they spray them out of airplanes by the thousands. Extremely effective and very cheap. Kill these anti-personnel mines, kill lots of children, maim them. And Michael would go to these hospitals. And he would be at these hospitals and he would see these kids with their feet blown off, sometimes their legs and hands blown off. And quietly, he would donate money to those charities. I understand there was one place they had a mud floor in the hospital. Michael got them a sanitized concrete floor in the thing, got no credit. There was nobody with a camera there. Michael was a true Christian, a true godly person. Whatever religion you take it, Michael was the best of that religion. He gave secretly. That's right. He gave secretly. And that's why we don't have a lot of video footage. This foundation wants to go revisit those charities that Michael gave, and we have the list. We think it's 150 or some. We have the list, and we want to keep on giving them. To do that, we've got to convince people like the Hiltons and other people, give $1 million here to the charity, to this charity. And we will go and see what they need today. To do that, we got to clear Michael's name in the public arena. Tom Mesereau proved to the court, stop those snakes. Ron Zonin stomped them down. Gordy Akagar stomped them. Tom Stedden, they were stomped into the ground, and they walked out of that courtroom. I can tell you, I remember their face. They froze their smile on there, and they walked out pretending everything was fine. It wasn't fine. They just made the biggest buttholes out of themselves in front of the whole world. But then Fox News, CNN, ABC, all the media, except I got to say the Italian television, and I think there was a French television, they went like this. Literally, they went like this. They left Santa Maria courthouse a month or two before the verdict. And I asked one of the guy from Italy, he spoke a little English, I said, why are you leaving? Why are you packing up? He says, this trial is crap. This trial is all crap. Even the Italian film crew knew the trial was just crap. Yes. The thing that sticks, we got to do this documentary. And I'm hoping you will like our foundation ties. And for a donation of $100, cash or check, we'll give you a tie. We have some raffles coming up. The ties aren't in the raffle. We need to raise money. And I expect most of the money will come through the website. You can go on there, PayPal or My Charity, or you can just write a check. Some people have told me, I want my canceled check back. So I'm going to send you a check. So it'll take us longer to process it. That's okay. We have a PO box. We have a bookkeeper. We have a CPA. All the money is being accounted for. And just so everyone knows, I have been working on this since October of last year. I have, to this day, have not taken a single penny in compensation. I have not even taken a penny to reimburse myself for all my expenses, for setting up the corporation, for doing everything you had to do to get to this day. I haven't taken a single penny. I have not even reimbursed myself. Other people are getting paid. I'm not getting paid. So those that think that I'm making money off this, it's not happening. I wish it would happen, but it's not happening. To get to that point, we need $3 million. The board of directors, and I'm going to tell you who they are, Mr. Thomas Lessman, who got miserably beat up in a court, unjustly. He's on the board. Michelle Jackson, who I am told by Michelle, Michael was named after her. She's married to Joe Jackson's brother. She's on our board of directors. She actually lives in Santa Barbara County. And Barbara Renee, who's got one of the most longest, miserable, rottenest divorces I've ever seen. She's been dragged through the courts so the lawyers can eat up the common property, and she and her ex will get little nothing. And myself, we have a vacancy on the board of directors, and we're actively looking for somebody who we can verify is really for Michael. Not for what they can get out of Michael, not for what they can do to promote themselves, but for Michael. We're working on this board to build a foundation that'll keep on giving. But first, we have to do this documentary. Mesereau won in the courtroom. We need to win in the court of public opinion. It may cost $3 million to produce a first-class, one-hour television documentary of the trial, taken word for word off the trial record. You haven't heard the trial record yet. Virtually nobody, because the national media has seen the trial record. Majestik saw part of it. He was there almost the whole trial. Kathleen Jackson, Michael's mother, she was there every single day. Ask Sharon Sidney, who's taking tickets. She and I used to vie to see who got to sit right behind Mrs. Jackson. Sharon beat me almost every day. I don't know how she did it, but she'd get in there and she'd be right there, so I had to take the next seat over. I sat behind Jackie Jackson once, Tito Jackson. Sometimes I had to sit on the other side of the aisle. It was interesting to me how the major media didn't want to sit by the Jacksons. It was interesting to me how we were told to treat them like leopards. The media was. No talking to them, no interviews in the courtroom, no interviews until they're outside. And it was like, we're supposed to treat these people like they're non-human just because Michael is facing false charges? This is so wrong.
Unconstitutional.
It is unconstitutional. And when we do the documentary, and I intend to do this documentary, I really do. I believe the fans are like no other fans any celebrity ever had. You're the best. You really are. You are the best. And before I knew it, you all knew Michael was innocent. I went in thinking, well, I don't believe the molestation, but maybe he gave him some wine. Yeah, he could have given us some wine. The kid was going to die before he was 17, so why not give him some wine? Michael might have did. He didn't. No. The evidence proved he didn't give. They broke into the wine cellar and stole from Michael. Right. They wrecked his golf carts out in Neverland, and the media didn't report that. They wrecked some other stuff. They smuggled in girly magazines. They took their, what do you call those golf carts? Golf carts, right? And they took them 5 miles off the property into the nearest little town. Absolutely illegal what they did, and they got away with all of it. Now, I want to ask you, if we do this documentary, will you write letters about it? Yes. Will you write to your local newspapers? Yes. Will you call your radio stations and say, this documentary is going to be on TV in such and such an hour? Will you do that? Yes. Would you give $40, $20, $30 to see this documentary on TV? How many would spend $30? How many would spend $30? Let's see a show of hands. Raise your hand. Would you spend $30? Most of you would. How many of you would spend $100 to see it on TV? There's about 40 million. You know how I know how many 40 million is? Because there's a Michael Jackson video it's called the Michael Jackson Vivo, V-E-V-O. And he's got that song. What's it called? Hold Your Hand? Hold My Hand. 43.6 million views. Those aren't Tom Sneddon fans tuning into, those aren't Gordy Auchincloss fans tuning in to watch that. Those are Michael Jackson fans. So I know there's at least 40 million.